Good morning, class. Everyone take a seat and we will begin shortly. All right. Who remembers what I said we would be going over this week? Yes, Jimmy. You're right, post-impressionism. Today we will be looking at classifying the era. I will tell you about an artist from the time, and then I will introduce and demonstrate our new project. All right. A little bit about post-impressionism. As we know, the artists about this time were tired of painting in a very realistic way that had been done before, and they wanted to develop a new way of painting. And so they developed Impressionism, which then led to Post-Impressionism. However, Post-Impressionism is much more freer. So it's freer because the artist is not limited by the form of an object or painting exactly what they saw. Oftentimes, they would use very vivid colors. We can take a look at Vincent van Gogh's sunflower painting here, and we can see that the artists of this time often painted colors that weren't even there, such as if we want to portray yellow, Vincent van Gogh here used gold and oranges and greens just to demonstrate yellow. They would also paint colors that were different than the actual color of the object, such as painting a person blue. We also recognize this artwork by its vivid use of brush strokes. They use very obvious brush strokes. We can go back to Van Gogh's painting and we can see just the different, if you come up close, you can see the different uses of brush strokes. He didn't try to hide his brush strokes. They put a very big emphasis on his painting. Okay, so now that I've briefly discussed Post-Impressionism, who can tell me an artist of this time? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, I just mentioned one. Yes, Eric, you're right, Van Gogh. But what about him? Who knows anything about Mr. Vincent van Gogh? Let's see, Sydney. Yes, he was the guy who chopped off his ear. Although technically he didn't quite chop off his ear, he actually cut through the small lobe of it, so it wasn't technically cut all the way off. Okay, anyone else know anything? Adam. Yes. You're right. He is the guy who painted Starry Night. Starry Night is probably Van Gogh's most famous painting. Alright, does anyone else know anything about Mr. Van Gogh? No? Alright, that's okay. So Van Gogh was a Dutch artist. He lived from the years 1853 to 1890, although he only painted for the last 10 years of his life. He was self-taught. And during those 10 years that he painted, he actually completed 800 works of art. That's about an average of 80 paintings per year. Talk about dedication. However, Van Gogh was very unhappy. This is for a variety of reasons. Mainly, one, because he was not recognized during his lifetime. Many artists actually are not recognized till after their death. It is actually stated that Van Gogh only sold one painting in his entire lifetime. Talk about something talk about, disappointment. He also had a lousy love life. I don't want to give away too much because that will be an assignment that you'll have, actually. Not just about his love life, but his whole life. And it's speculated that he had various illnesses ranging from either epilepsy to bipolar disorder. Now, your assignment, actually, no, it's not going to be anything too bad, is to write one paragraph. And in that paragraph, I want you to include 3 facts about Van Gogh's life. And then I want you to look up a painting. So one painting. And I want you to tell me why exactly you like that painting, or why you're choosing to write about it. Whether it's the color, whether it's because of the color or the subject matter, it doesn't matter. Just write about it. That leads us into me demonstrating about our new project. All right. Our next project will be to do an imitation of one of Van Gogh's works. After you have researched a painting, you will then pick that painting. Oh, I also have pictures and little information about each one of his paintings right here if you need to reference that, by the way. So, now I will demonstrate his brush work, which is kind of the Van Gogh style, so it should help you out when you're painting. You'll receive a 9 by 12 canvas board, and then we'll also use paint brushes and of course paint, and then we'll use a palette where we'll put our paints. I've started this one in a previous class, but it will work just fine for demonstration purposes. Of course, first you're going to want to draw out your picture. I chose to do the sunflower since they're right here, as you can see, maybe. And let's get that back up there. So when we paint Van Gogh, or when we paint actually anything, we want to pick out our the primary colors we're going to use within the painting. In this painting, we see various yellows, browns, golds, maybe some blue. It's always a good idea to put white and black, just for the different tones of the colors. And we have green in the painting. Now, when painting Van Gogh, you probably want to use a bigger brush, because the brush work is important in his paintings. Often, Van Gogh layered paint, so you can put on one layer of paint and then right over it, just continue to paint. Don't cover up your brush strokes, because as we have learned, brush strokes are very important in post-impressionism. So we just go over the color. Down here we have the foreground, which is brown and yellow, and we see maybe some blacks. So we go over with our paintbrush and we just dabble on there. You don't have to get too detailed in it. Like Van Gogh often just layered on his paint. So we go, and when we're putting the paint on, we apply it. You can take your paintbrush like so, put it between your thumb and your middle finger, and then put your index finger on like that on top of the brush, and then use your index finger to guide your paintbrush work. Often, Van Gogh would paint, like I said, would paint the color, and then on top of that would paint the next color. So the key is just to follow the brush strokes, to make sure not to cover up your brush strokes. Make sure you get your colors laid on your palette that are in the painting, of course. Now we will start this painting next period. Make sure to have your painting ready, and that's all. You may go. Thank you.